Well, the weather's changing here in Southern California. It's getting cooler now. We got a little bit of drizzle in the morning. We're wearing jackets and coats to work. We get to dress nicer. And
nice weather.
Great. Michelle Zuno has been a friend of mine, a lifelong friend since high school. She works for a certain organization that she could possibly not tell you about. But tell everybody, well, what you can tell. Tell everybody what you do and, what specifically you do for this job.
Yes. So I work for a state agency. One day I will mention who the state agency is. Today, we're just going to go over the basics. I've worked for the state agency about 19 years now. More than 10 plus years, I have worked at the supervisory level. And as a matter of fact, Freddie, I had an interview this morning.
So you're interviewing 24/7.
Exactly.
You're going to help everybody basically on how to absolutely kill the interview process.
Yes, I'm going to give some good tips, I hope. And Freddie's going to ask some questions.
Yeah, because, here's my thing. And here's what I've learned. In the old world, you can go into a store or go online, go into the company, hand in an application blindly, just hand in an application with your resume, a cute little cover letter, walk out, hope for a callback. Maybe you get a call, maybe you don't. Now, if you do that, nobody's following up with you.
Right.
Nobody. I mean, this has gotten down to the fast food level. Fast food recruiters are hiring people they know. Your network has become one of the most powerful tools in your back pocket, more now than ever before. So I know you have some stats that you want to share with everybody on where the job market is as far as recruiting and hiring and interviewing.
So 44% are promoting remote work options. Did you know that 60% of companies have hiring freezes?
Wow.
And
I believe it.
The state of California is notorious for hiring freezes. Since COVID-19, there's been 135% increase in remote jobs.
Wow.
60% of job seekers don't complete the application process due to the length or complexity.
That's such a big problem. Why is it that a lot of these companies have this giant, lengthy, and what does that really get the recruiter?
I can explain to you what we have to go through just to weed out the applications. I'll get to that after I do a couple more stats.
Sure.
34% of candidates report not hearing back from the recruiter for 60 days.
Yeah.
Wouldn't that be scary?
A lot of the times they don't even get back to you.
I think that's unprofessional.
Yeah.
Where I work, we are required to notify every single candidate.
Because you have the requirement.
We have the requirement.
Why don't the rest of the companies have that requirement?
I don't know. Maybe they have their own way of doing things. We follow the model of California Department of Human Resources, when we model different things, and that's where we get ours from. And it's a requirement for I'm assuming all state agencies, but mine specifically.
Yeah.
73% of job seekers find their job via social media.
Wow.
That's a high percentage.
That is a high percentage. Wow.
50% of job seekers use social media for job hunting.
Well, I do see a lot of those ads like, hey, this company's hiring here, this company's hiring there. It's easy to just share that link to somebody who's a friend who's looking for a job. And
sure. I've seen and reposted job fairs. I'm not looking for another job right now, but when you see a job fair, you don't know who's looking and who needs it. You just share it. Mm-hmm. And it's so easy on social media to share it. And 84% of organizations use social media for recruiting talent.
Wow. Now, does that mean like they're hiring straight from Instagram, or does that mean, hey, we want to make sure that Michelle isn't some wild and out crazy,
Could be both.
Okay.
There's recruiters and organizations that search through your whole social media before they'll hire you.
Oh yeah, and I think the general population has cleaned up a lot since the MySpace days.
That's true.
But there are still a few of those friends who post whatever the heck, and it's like,
yeah,
are you not worried about ever, what looking hireable?
Yeah, be very careful when running for a public office.
I'm
like
not saying
mayor.
you have to be a politician, but gosh, some of the things that these people are doing on their social media, it's crazy.
I know.
Okay, continue.
And we always say, your interview starts at the door. So while you're working there and you want to get a promotion, you should always dress appropriately. You should always act appropriately. You should always carry yourself in high regard. You should always be above reproach, was what I like to say. Because you never know who's looking at you every day. If you come
and by the way,
unkept.
This goes back to your social media.
It does. I tell people all the time, I said, you are one of the smartest people that I know, but you come in late every week. So what you can do for me and for the company, does that measure well with your drawbacks? Because are you going to be rushing in, discombobulated, non-organized? Being late can lead to other things. It might show a lack of respect when we have a meeting. Say we have a meeting at 8:00. And if I have a meeting at 8:00, I'm going to be there at 7:30, 7:45. I need to make sure my Teams is working. I need to make sure my notes are ready. I need to make sure that my hair is in place.
Well, for the record,
presentable.
Because I've known Michelle for such a long time, let me just say that she is very punctual and on time all the time.
All the time. If I am late, something's wrong.
We don't have to talk about me. So let's continue.
If you know Freddie. Anyway, I'll continue. I digress. However, as a manager, especially, I've had someone, no lie, come in 30 minutes. It was about 30 minutes late to an interview. No phone call, no notification, no nothing. And then I expected them to be like, oh my gosh, from the bottom of my heart, I apologize. I know this is very unprofessional, won't ever happen again, but I ran over a dog and I was inconsolable in the parking lot. I had to gather my thoughts. I'm so sorry. I couldn't even call you. Walked in and said nothing. Okay, I'm ready. What in the hell?
Yeah.
I was thinking, how unprofessional, how disrespectful. Like, you don't even know us. Don't you want to make a good impression? And I think when I was interviewing her, I heard absolutely nothing after that. I was like, have you heard Charlie Brown? Mwah, 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 mwah. That's all I heard. I couldn't even get past the fact that she didn't even acknowledge it.
Yeah.
Own it.
So at that point, do you just want to get the interview done and over with quickly? Yeah.
Just own it. We're human. Stuff happens sometimes.
Yeah.
Is it going to look bad? I've actually hired somebody that was late before, but because they acted very differently.
Right.
And I'm like, gosh, I hope I'm not shooting myself in the foot by hiring this person because I think they're phenomenal and watch them be late every single day. Oh my gosh. And they weren't. And they actually showed me differently. So that was pretty cool.
So what are you looking for specifically inside the interview process? Once the interview has begun, what are the things that you do in your experiences that you do like to hear versus the ones that they're shooting themselves in the foot?
So I wrote down a list of pretty much do's in an interview or prior to an interview. And so I'm so glad you asked me that question.
And by the way, this is before we're going to actually get into the questions that you do ask. That'll be fun.
Exactly. Okay. This is basically how to prepare a little bit.
Okay. Things
that you should be looking for. So you need to know what your position or your title duties are prior to the interview. You have bonus points if you do research, meaning
on the company.
Have talked to the employee, have researched the website, looked up their jargon.
Yeah.
Those are bonus points.
Yeah.
But I have interviewed somebody, okay, so without being really specific about the position, because then it might give away where I work, but let's just say somebody was applying for a representative.
Okay.
And the position that they thought they were applying for is they're actually going to be front hand with customers. I'm going to be dealing with the customer directly. When I asked them, what did you do to prepare for this position? They stopped and asked me, oh, I have a question. What is it that I'm going to be doing exactly? I'm going to be in the call center, right? Yeah. And we stared at with this blank look like, this is for a frontline office representative.
Yeah.
Do you not remember? Well, I submitted 5 applications. I'm so sorry. I didn't realize this was which one. We said the title when we called you.
You say bonus points, but I say it's
almost necessary.
But to be fair, though, a lot of these job descriptions online are so standardized or vague or so politically correct that it's hard.
I get that.
Okay, so what is the job?
I get that. The cool thing to do would be submit your application, but call. Hey, I was interested in the sound judgment position. And I wanted to talk to somebody who does that. Is there any way I can pick your brain and ask a few questions? Oh, I'm the sound judgment manager. Sure. What would you like to know? I'd like to know, are you hiring? Yes. Second, what hours do you work? Oh, we're graveyard. Never mind. Sound judgment is not for me. So if you're not prepared, the person who's interviewing you should do a little synopsis. So you're applying for the blah, blah, blah position in blah, blah, blah city. And our hours are this time to this time. Weekends may be required and nights. Are you okay with that? Or will that be a problem? So if you start on an interview like that, it's cool. It's kind of giving you, but taking a little at the same time. I'm giving you a little bit of what you need to know. Yeah. And then I'm asking, is that okay with you? Is that what you applied for?
And at the end of the day, you met somebody new.
And at the end of the day, you met somebody new. Exactly. I will say also on my list, dress appropriately.
Right. I mean, that's a given. Who doesn't know that? Are there really people?
I have a story.
Tell me.
So I know this was kind of messed up. So it was a girl, young girl. She walked in and she had a lip piercing. Which I'm not against any piercings, any tattoos, or any of that stuff. I think it's cool. I think it's progressive and all that. But it was pretty big, and I would have probably taken it out for the interview. Just me, just to have a little bit of taste. Having it at work, it's not allowed, so it's fine. But having it during the interview is very distracting. So also, she had a shirt that I think maybe didn't fit her quite right. And I get it.
Was it too small?
It was a little small.
Okay.
So in the middle of the interview, her button popped. So I'm trying to be appropriate. Right. And I'm trying not to stop and say, ma'am, you're
yes
showing whatever.
Yeah.
And it wasn't showing a whole lot, but it was very distracting because I saw it like pop.
It's hard not to.
It's hard not to look.
Yeah.
And then at the same time, she's doing this. With the ring, with the lip ring.
Wow.
The whole time.
And she's nervous. That's a nervous tick.
I'm sure she's nervous.
Yeah.
And everyone's nervous.
Yeah.
Even the people doing your interview are nervous.
Yeah.
I'll fully admit that. Sometimes we're not fully prepared and we're like, what question are we on again? They don't know that, but you know that. And to me, the dress appropriately thing, do a once over, stretch a little bit, turn to the side, make sure you're not, your shirt's not going to come untucked if you move.
Yeah.
Shirts, you grow out of shirts. It's my interview shirt. I only use it once every 2 years. Yeah. Who knows if it even fit me? Putting it on 5 minutes before the interview is probably not appropriate. Lay it out the night before. Iron it. Different things like that. It makes a difference. I would recommend.
Did she get the job?
No, she did not. She did not get the job, unfortunately.
Now, are there any legal bounds or anything that can get you in trouble for talking about a candidate in a hiring process?
No.
Okay.
I didn't, as long as I don't use any names or any position. And right. And obviously you don't know where I work for. So there's that.
Good.
I would say don't wear any crazy colors.
Okay. Like a bright red suit?
Yeah, because it's distracting. I'm looking at your suit and I'm not looking at Freddie the person. Right? Also, along with that, no strong perfume or cologne. I would say don't wear any. Because if a person has allergies, they're sneezing, they're coughing, they're rubbing their nose, trying to take notes, it's distracting whether you love it or you hate it. If you hate it, you're gonna, it's like a psychological thing. You're going to equate that person to that smell you hate. If we hire him, he's going to stink like that every day. Right? Subconsciously, I think. Make eye contact. When you're nervous and you're shy, you tend to look down. You look down, you're tapping, I've taken classes where they say, have a focal point. Even if you're not looking them completely in the eye, at least find a spot on the wall behind them where you're looking up.
What helps nerves?
I would say get a good night's sleep. I would say don't have caffeine in the morning right before you go. It kind of makes you jittery.
Okay.
If you're used to having caffeine 10 times a day, it probably will calm you.
Me?
But with some other people, like if you pound a soda or have a bunch of junk or anything, sometimes people's skin may be puffy or they might have under eye circles because they didn't get a lot of sleep and they're worried about how they look. And
I think staying hydrated is a big important factor because you know that feeling of when you go and speak in front of a room, all of a sudden your throat gets super dry.
Yep. And bring water with you. That's okay. Yeah. Bring water with you. You can always take a break and take a sip of water. It helps. Here's one big thing during the interview that I have to say. Listen to all parts of the question. Take notes. I usually bring a blank piece of paper because sometimes I don't hear the whole question, so I want to jot something down that I think you said. And asking to repeat the question is okay. Don't think you need to memorize the questions.
Right.
Another thing I would say is don't skimp on telling about yourself. Don't skimp on that. It's your opportunity to sell yourself.
A lot of people hate that question.
I know, but it really is an opportunity to tell us about you. We want to know about your work and about you.
Well, define that, because a lot of people think, okay, do you want to hear about my whole life story, my bio?
No, that's what I'm saying. Pay real close attention to the question they're asking you and gear it towards what you would really do. And a lot of them say in your current role, but you always want to relate your current role to what you're striving for.
Yeah. Well, let me ask you this. How much does intuition play a part in finding or hiring the right person?
Intuition? Like
your gut feeling. Like, okay, I have a gut feeling this person is not going to work, or I have a gut feeling that I really like this person.
I think gut feeling or intuition is beneficial for a tiebreaker.
Okay.
So I've heard of jobs that their first question was, Freddie, if you were an ice cream flavor, what flavor would you be?
Okay.
And if you got that in an interview, you're like, what the hell? I'm applying for an executive. Why would they ask me that? They're not going to score you on
I can answer that
butter
question.
pecan.
I'm mint and chip.
Mint and chip.
I'm mint and chip. I have two almost polarizing colors or opposites in life, and I bridge them together to taste nice.
I love that. And see that they want to see how you think, how innovative you are, how you would describe yourself.
Yeah.
And
so for somebody who's watching or listening right now, they're not good at verbalizing what's in their mind. What can they do to improve?
I really believe in the self-talk and practicing in front of a mirror. It really does help. I really believe in recording yourself and listening to it back. I will say probably one of the best tools that I've used or recommended to others is do mock interviews.
Yeah.
So I'm coming over to Freddie because I trust Freddie, and I said, I need you to read me all these.
Okay.
Read them all to me, and I'm going to practice answering them.
It's a great piece of advice.
Great exercise because a lot of people I know are interviewing me. I can't BS my way through this. I know them all. So the more I practice with somebody I trust at my department, it's almost like I know you. And I think that's even more embarrassing, right? Sometimes. Or you might be even more shy. Oh, this person knows me. They're going to know what my answers are going to be. They get to see me inside and blah, blah, blah. So sometimes I would rather be interviewed by a stranger. Yeah. They have no idea who I am. Yeah. If I bomb it, they'll never think about me again, or they'll make fun of me on a podcast if I answer something stupid, right? But if somebody knows you, it helps when you practice with people that you know to do the mock interview, especially someone that does that position that you're going for or has done it before.
Yeah, it's great. And that's what a lot of people don't do is they don't think about the interviewer.
Yes.
Pretend you're the one interviewing. What questions would I really want to know about the person I want to hire?
How would you want someone to answer that question?
Yeah.
If you had to ask what the ice cream flavor was and someone said, vanilla because I'm boring. They're going to be such fun to work with, don't you think, Freddie?
But vanilla people are great with budgets. So exactly.
I think for the type of job that you're applying for, maybe the answers will or will not matter.
Right.
But I'm saying if I have Freddie and I have Michelle vying for the same position and you have equal credentials and you do equally as good on the interview, but Michelle said she's vanilla because she's boring. And Freddie said that he's mitten chip because he has two different flavors. He thinks outside the box. He does this. I'm leaning towards Freddie. He's going to work for me in my department because I need someone with a little diversity. I need someone who could kind of think a little bit outside the box. We have too many vanillas at this office already. However you kind of want to think about it, a lot of them do it as a tiebreaker question. A lot of them do it as an icebreaker question. I'm trying to loosen you up. Think about how cool that would be if you're nervous as hell.
Right.
You're nervous, you're shaking, and you're like, ice cream flavor.
Now imagine if you actually get this exact question.
Imagine.
You thought about it already. You practiced it.
Exactly. It's an icebreaker, kind of, it's lighthearted.
So, okay, here's what I want to do. I want to put myself on the hot seat in front of everybody.
Hot seat.
And I want to practice. So you could be the interviewer. I'll be the interviewee, trying to get the job at Michelle's headquarters.
Let's see, Freddie. I got some questions for you.
All right, hang on a second. Let me adjust my pants because that's an important part of feeling comfortable, right? It's kind of cold in here, isn't it?
It is a little cold. So I will go a little bit deeper into this. If you go on the CalHR website, California Human Resources website, they have what I like to call core competencies. That's how they base their interview questions on now. It kind of brings out defining clear expectations and behaviors that support the organization's visions and goals.
Okay.
Rather than, Freddie, why do you want this job?
So what you're telling me is I'm not going to get basic questions from you right now.
You're not.
Okay.
I'm going to do the competency model.
Okay.
And there's 5 stages to it, depending on what you're applying for. So I'm going to assume you're applying for entry-level position.
Okay.
So I'm going to ask you a question, entry level, and I'm going to move all the way to expert level.
Sure. All right.
And I want you to tell me if you would answer any differently.
Okay.
And how you can kind of see executive level versus novice
Let's
level.
do it. Let's do both.
Okay. Tell us about a task that you must use technology tools to complete.
Oh, I was waiting for an introduction. No, I thought
I'm going right into the questions.
Okay. I'm sorry.
Fred, you're applying for the iPhone production position.
Okay. Would you mind repeating the question?
Yes, Freddie. Tell us about a task that you must use technology tools to complete.
Tell us about a task
that you use technology tools to complete.
It's been nice. Thank you.
No, okay, so
I can't even picture the question. What is the question?
So you can answer a million ways, right? Well, think about if you had to write a report or do a PowerPoint presentation, what technology would you have to use? The computer.
Right. Oh,
Microsoft PowerPoint.
I was going to say I have a notes app on my iPhone. And
no, you could.
Okay.
Exactly. So
I've already failed. I can't work for the state.
Think about what position you're applying for. You're applying for iPhone.
Right.
You're applying for one of the biggest technology companies, iPhone. Right. Discuss a time when you identified and used the appropriate technological tool for a specific situation. See how it starts getting really complex?
Right. But the same answer could still apply.
Then we go into intermediate.
Okay.
So this is if you were already maybe a manager for iPhone.
Okay.
Discuss a situation that required you to coach others on the basic use of a divisional application.
What is a divisional application? What does that mean?
Let's just say divisional application. So like my work uses Salesforce. Salesforce is a platform.
All right.
What do you use to record your music on?
Yeah. Okay.
So discuss a situation that required you to coach others on the basic use of this divisional application.
All right. Well, I had a podcast and I had my friend Michelle over and we record through Adobe Audition. And it's a very simple tool, but I believe it's beneficial for both of us to understand the program so we can efficiently work together in case I'm out or she's out. We can kind of, help each other out in that way.
Exactly. And we were actually thinking about that also.
Yes, we were.
We really were. It's a real life. So advanced would be, this is if you were executive level and you probably ran iPhone.
Okay.
Is or executive level at iPhone. Right. What you would be thinking about. Provide an example of a technology you have leveraged to simplify tasks. It gets so complicated.
Well, you know what? I'm understanding the questions on an advanced level more than the novice questions. It's very complicated. It was confusing
but probably
for me.
Because you've been working for so long, you're not thinking, what do you mean? Use technology to complete a task.
Yeah, I understood
like a
it
calendar,
when you started,
exactly. So this one is problem solving.
Okay. Oh, I hate these.
So Freddie, describe a time when you identified a problem.
Wow. Well, can I think about that first?
Sure.
Okay. Describe a time where I identified a problem.
Think about it at work. Think about a problem at work.
It's a hard question. Well, I noticed that the person prior to me wasn't cleaning up would leave food crumbs in there, and I thought about addressing the situation with him, but I said, you know what, it doesn't happen every single week. So, but when it does, I clean up the studio before and after I leave anyway. I might as well just do it for him.
Yeah, perfect. It's a problem. That's a problem.
Yeah.
So it's true. Dirty people are a problem. So basic level would be Tell us about a time when you identified the components of a problem and analyzed them to complete a task.
God, why those words?
Because this is it's based on a leadership competency model.
Got it. Okay.
So because they don't want you to give a basic answer. Right. They want to know that you have critical thinking.
Okay.
And they want to know if you're applying to be a manager.
Okay.
You had to have identified the components of a problem and analyze them to complete a task. If you're going for a manager position. Mm-hmm. Discuss a complex problem you identified and solved after first determining multiple alternatives.
So I over-answered the question.
Yeah, exactly. You might have just said, oh, well, there was a dirty person at work and they had crumbs all the time. That's the problem.
Yeah.
That's very, very novice.
That's not how my brain thinks, though.
Exactly. But that's the kind of candidates that we want.
Got it.
Somebody who thinks a little bit more complex. And that's how you weed out people that are going to give you very basic answers. The very basic answer person is going to do very basic work. If that makes sense.
Okay.
So advanced would be provide an example of a time when you supported a data-driven approach to solving complex problems on your team.
Okay. Got it.
Expert level would be tell us about a highly sensitive problem you identified that had a broad impact to your organization.
Well, we would on current rotation play, a Diddy song. I'll be missing you. But in current situation, we decided through our data and analytics that we would pull it out of rotation for the meantime.
Agree. I think we should. No Diddy.
No Diddy. No diddler.
No diddler. So tell us about a situation when you withheld your own opinion and try to obtain the opinions of others. What did you do? What was the outcome? And why was the action important? Well, you withheld your opinion and tried to obtain the opinion of others.
Well, James thought it would be a good idea to keep Diddy as part in the playlist because the song is such a hit. I'll Be Missing You. Everybody likes that song. And instead of proving him wrong with my data and analytics that I pulled from the report prior to that meeting, I decided just to listen to him and hear his point of view because I thought instead of my own biased view, I have people who work under me who have great ideas and I welcome those great ideas. And I thought, let me hear him out. So I did.
That's a perfect answer for a manager.
Yeah.
Perfect answer because when you're at work, it's really easy to say, you do what I say because I told you so.
Okay. Yeah.
Or because that's what the statute says. Mm-hmm. It's a lot harder to say, I know we do it this way, but Susie, how do you think we should approach it? Mm-hmm. Because Susie has great ideas. Sometimes she has lousy ideas, but it doesn't matter.
Yeah.
It doesn't matter. You heard her out, and guess what it did for her? She felt confident. She felt important. She felt like she was being heard. And even better, if we implemented what Susie said, Susie can use that in an interview in the future when she wants to promote. What policy did you implement? Oh my gosh, I'm so glad you asked me that. I had to implement the change. They asked me what I would change in this department. I made a recommendation, and guess what? They actually implemented in the department because this guy that left crumbs all over the table, we implemented a policy, no food inside the studio.
Yeah.
No food inside the studio. This way there will never be any crumbs. Solution. And and that person's going to feel confident. That person's going to be, you have to get the buy-in from people. So that's one of those questions. December 2023, they surveyed 800 employees.
Okay.
Employers, sorry, not employees.
Okay.
So basically bosses. Mm-hmm. During recent job interviews, employers say recent college graduates have, tell me how you feel about these.
Okay.
Struggle with eye contact, 53%.
Ooh, I feel like that's a lot more than it used to be. I mean, a lot of the younger generation too has a problem with eye contact. I don't know why. I mean, I know they're nervous, but I see it a lot more often.
Do you think the digital age has something to do with that?
Yes.
They're not used to speaking face to face. They're used to texting each other, right? 50% asked for unreasonable compensation. 47% dressed inappropriately.
I don't get that. That's such an easy thing to do.
47%? That's almost half of those 800 people that have done interviews. I mean, it doesn't tell me who the employers are, but just think of any bosses anywhere. 47% of people that interviewed dressed inappropriately.
Is there a time you overdress for a job interview?
Yes.
Okay.
I think so.
All right.
27% used inappropriate language.
Can you give an example of okay.
Absolutely. Without saying any names, and hopefully nobody knows this person because I don't think they work there anymore. But anyway, they asked them to describe why they would be the best candidate for the job. What would we love most about you or the best candidate for the job?
Okay.
Do you know what this person said?
Tell me.
He said, I am the best candidate for the job. If there was a pissing contest, I would piss the furthest.
What was that person thinking?
In an interview.
Oh.
What would you, I would probably get up and walk out.
Did he really want the job?
I don't know, but I know the people that interviewed, like, had to stop themselves from falling off the chair laughing at the guy. Like, they were like, I think both of them covered their mouth and was kind of like.
You know, I feel like maybe that was the situation where he knew he bombed the interview. So at that point, he said, F it, I'm just going to.
I really think so. But why? How wildly inappropriate.
Yeah.
He didn't even have to, like, I don't know. He could have said it in so much different way.
Right.
Like, if I was going to strive for the best, if I was going to write a report, I would write the best report you ever had.
And keep in mind, when you do pull a stunt like that after you bomb an interview, in today's world, I feel like your track record and your real social life credit score kind of follows you a lot more than it used to. So you better be careful.
And keep in mind, he still worked there, so they had to.
Oh gosh!
So when you go back and see, like, I'm going to go to the Orange office or the one in San Diego or the one in Covina or the different offices locations we have. Every time I go to that office, I got to see that guy. Now I'll always remember you that way. So 21% refused to turn the camera on during a virtual interview.
That's got to be weird. You ever seen the movie The Whale? That sad movie with Brendan Fraser?
Not yet, because
so
I don't want to. I don't want to cry.
Yeah, but good acting though. But depressing.
That's what I hear.
Depressing film. He plays an English teacher, but for an online class. And he's so fat, you know. I mean, well, how do you say it? Anyway,
he is though. That's what the premise of the movie is.
Yeah,
he's
so
very overweight.
He never turns his camera on ever.
Wow.
But for a job interview, I feel like, and they can't say it, but they got to know how you look.
Yeah, I mean, I guess if you were going to be just a phone answerer or like call center or I don't know, a bill negotiator over the phone or something like that, maybe appearance wouldn't be so much. But I think that's a requirement for a video interview, or else they have phone. I've done a phone interview and gotten a promotion, believe it or not.
Yeah.
I promoted from a regular employee to a manager on the phone.
Well, that's how I kind of got COLA, because this was during the pandemic.
Mm-hmm.
So
there was no video
then.
I kind of believe, but if they're doing a video conferencing interview, you should have the video turned on. It makes no sense. And then this is my favorite one.
Okay.
19%, I can't even believe it's 19%, brought a parent to their interview.
What? That's so weird. I heard about that. What is that about?
I don't know.
I can't even imagine that in my head.
I can't even imagine. I would disown my son if he tried to bring me to his interview.
Like, okay, here's what I'm thinking. It's an entry-level job, and the kid's 18 or 19, and his parent sits in the lobby while he goes inside. Is that how it works? Is that what they're saying?
Possibly. Or it could be, this is my reference. They could attest.
Okay.
They could attest.
Right.
To my punctuality.
Okay.
They can attest.
Right, Mom?
Freddie, can you attest to Freddie's punctuality?
Wow.
Like, just think about it. I would just imagine that that's what they would bring their parent for some kind of, they're going to back me up. They're going to tell you how great I am. And
well, for those who are probably getting their first job, who else are they going to have? I mean, who else is going to be their reference?
Yeah. You should see how many people call where I work and they call for their parent their parent calls for them.
Let's go to the basic level. So say it's a kid out of high school, right? And they have to list references. Who are they listing?
Yeah, they would have to be personal references. I mean, they could do like how I would do it is if it was my first job and I was like 17 or 18 and don't have much experience. I would name somebody who was in charge of somewhere I volunteered. Mm-hmm. I would do.
And again, this goes back to, it's a great idea to volunteer.
Yeah, great idea to volunteer.
For more reasons than just trying to get the job.
Exactly.
There's so many amazing reasons to volunteer.
Yeah, and actually, for high school, it was a requirement for me to volunteer for a certain amount of hours. Great. And I volunteered at the Rancho Animal Shelter, and it was probably one of the best things I ever did.
When you do your top 5, put that in there.
Okay.
At the end of the show. Okay.
Also, a great mentor, maybe somebody that mentored you, a great teacher or principal or counselor. Those are the ones I would recommend you use.
Great ideas.
Because a great teacher, and as a matter of fact, I've had professors write me a letter of recommendation because, hey, Michelle was the top student. She was A student. She always concentrated. She always showed up. She always looked engaged. I think she'll be great, a great asset to your department. You know, things like that I think are great.
God, I'm learning so much in this tonight. I feel like you've really become a pro at this.
I feel like I've conducted so many interviews and been interviewed so many times that I've kind of become a pro at it now.
Yeah. The volunteering stuff is such an incredible piece of advice because Alicia Del Valle was talking about how she got the job at ABC7.
Yes.
Eyewitness News. She was volunteering when a boss discovered her.
Yep.
Volunteering is just anyway. Michelle Zuno has compiled a list, her top 5 tips on doing great in an interview.
Yes. So number 5, make eye contact. Always great. Number 4, dress appropriately. We talked about that in length. Number 3, know what the position or duties entail prior to showing up for the interview. You don't want to be caught off guard. Number 2, always ask a question when they say, "Do you have any questions?" Use it as a tool to ask a quick question or throw in something. Is there anything else you want to tell us or ask us? Don't say, "Nope." Do anything. Say or ask anything. You know what? I just wanted to let you guys know I'm bilingual. Oh, I didn't know that. Now it's a kudos to you, or you might get paid $200 more a month because you speak Spanish or anything like that. Number 1, I would say, is the listen to all parts of the question.
Okay.
Listen to all parts of the question and don't be afraid to ask them to repeat it.
Right.
Because if you're missing elements, that's going to make or break your interview sometimes.
Right. Interesting. Great. Michelle Zuno, you killed it tonight, man. Wow. That's great. So, you
didn't really know I was this smart before, I think.
You know what,
Michelle, you're smarter than you look.
I absolutely hate the whole job hunting process from beginning to end.
I do too.
It is the absolute worst. But for those who are in the in-between process, I do hope that this helps. I mean, there's a lot of things that you told me tonight that I learned for the first time.
Yeah.
So Michelle Zuno,
feel free to DM us and ask some questions. I have this upcoming interview and I'm really nervous. Any tips for me? Or I was thinking about looking at this. Do you think this will help me?
Yeah.
Ask away.
Well, I hope you get that promotion.
Thank you. And I'll let you know soon.
Anything else that we need to cover? Is that it?
I think that's it.
All right. We can't wait for our next guest next week too, by the way. Michelle Zuno, you can find her at official Michelle Zuno. And then, you can find me at Freddie Rivera. And that's it.
That's it.
Let's go. I'm hungry.
Let's enjoy this cool weather.
Yes. Let's go eat something good.